Welcome to the Godzilla podcast. Thoughts on Godzilla, Planet of the Monsters.
That's right, bonus episode, Drew. We haven't done one in since King Kong.
King Kong.
Kong Skull Island.
Ha!
Right.
How quickly I forget. But you're right. It's been that long. And speaking of which, bonus episodes, we got one coming up middle end of next month.
Is that when that is?
February 18th.
Rampage?
No. Guest episode.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm thinking of bonus movies.
Bonus movies.
Yeah.
We have Rampage. What you were talking about one last time, weren't you? What was
I
it?
was talking about Shape of Water, but that's not a giant monster
okay.
movie.
See, yeah,
It's not a kaiju movie.
One we're not going to discuss here, but
a monster.
it's got
movie.
a monster film.
Yeah.
Rampage. They got toys in Walmart now for
Already,
Rampage.
yeah.
Yep. You want the funniest toy before we get into this? The funniest toy that's just a repainting. Essentially, it's definitely a different figure. It's a different mold, but it fits the same toy type. So Kong Skull Island had these big Kong figures exclusively at Walmart that were everywhere. Now they have them like half off because they've been there for months since the movie came out. They just replaced those toys with the big ape, same size, very, very similar figure from the Rampage movie. I was like, oh, so they just made another ape.
I think Rampage is based on a video game.
Oh, yeah. Arcade game.
I think we have to watch it on Nude Clan, if I remember.
Oh, correct. I would hope.
Yeah, so I got to do it for 2 podcasts. I have to watch Rampage.
Yeah.
Which it might be good. Like I said before, not sure if I did it on this show, but what's his face? The Rock? I could watch The Rock in any movie. He is watchable.
Yeah.
No matter what.
He makes movies watchable for sure.
San Andreas would not be a watchable movie without The Rock in it.
I definitely have heard of and seen trailers, but I don't need to see the Earth destroyed again by natural disasters. I'm good.
Well, it's a good thing this is a kaiju podcast.
It's a giant, kaiju podcast.
Disasters, depending on the movie.
Depending on the monster, depending on the monster's origin.
Do we have another one? I guess it's Pacific Rim sequel. Is that this year?
Oh, yeah, I forget. We need to mention that one. Yeah, Uprising's coming out in the next few months. It's Pacific Rim 2 Uprising.
I have not seen a trailer, Drew.
I've seen GIFs from trailers. I know John Boyega's in it.
Okay.
It seems so high intensity that it's making me like shy away from even wanting to get excited for it. Because Pacific Rim, monsters versus giant monsters versus giant robots. That's the only thing I need. And then they built up some lore and had a bleak world where anyway, it was enough. This movie just seems like it's throwing so much at me from everything I've seen. So I'm like, whoa. Just quit making me want to watch your movie. Just slow it down a little bit. And I want to watch it already. You don't have to oversell me on it. That's basically what I'm getting at.
I wonder if there's any other movies that are coming out. Is Godzilla next year or this year?
You're talking about the sequel to this?
King of the Monsters.
Oh,
American Godzilla.
I swear it's 2019. There's no way it's coming out in 2018. They've wrapped production on it, King of the Monsters, but like
they probably got a year worth of.
Oh yeah, with heavy CGI films like that, there's no way. Especially we got more monsters. We had better have more Godzilla than 2014.
Speaking of Godzilla,
Planet of the Monsters.
Planet of the Monsters.
Joe, you're cringing a bit. Where do you sit? Because it took me a few viewings before I settled on how I feel.
Before we get into spoilers,
yeah,
I want to say the movie is without substance, and if you want the eye candy of the anime Godzilla, then you will get it in this movie. Otherwise, if you're looking for depth of character or a story you're going to sink your teeth into, this is not the right place to go. That is my overall opinion.
I'd chalk up what you perceive as there not being depth to it being a very streamlined movie, as in everything. It's Kong Skull Island, before we get to the island, it felt like lightning fast. Like, set it up, get it over with. We just need to get to that island. This movie was like, set it up, get it over with. We just need to get to fighting Godzilla.
Hold on. No, you're wrong.
Okay.
Drew, you're so wrong.
Okay.
You say nicely. I say with earnestness as well.
Okay. This is your opinion, granted. But go on.
We're going to set this up so we can get to the setup, so that we can have a battle at the end.
And you know what? I feel like I don't know why.
7-minute flashback exposition scene that happens in the first 15 minutes of this movie.
Which some of that flashback exposition scene, this isn't spoilers yet, because this is like at the beginning, this is what you can find in a synopsis of the film. I only barely noticed, because just before you got here, I was watching it a third time, didn't quite get through. Part of that flashback synopsis, I am okay with, because it actually showed off Godzilla, and the main character is a child watching Godzilla destroy the Earth before they go off to space, blah, blah, blah. The thing I'm not okay with, Joe, is they had just shown us, prior to showing us the title of the screen, half of the animation from that flashback, because they... Anyway, film starts off with the main character, Haruo Nakajima. Pretty cool nod there. But him going off
I'm
on
glad
them.
You remembered the name of a character.
That's the only character I remember the name of. But he's committing some treason on the ship. He's going to blow it up because he thinks that they're just needlessly killing off people. Blah, blah, blah. But anyway, the animation from that... and then from him subsequently being arrested and thrown into the brig of the ship, I just watched that, and they showed the exact same stuff to us again. And his expression when he sees the crew of this ship that goes off the main ship, blah, 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 they blow up. I love the animation on his face, and it's very expressive. It's super poignant, but it kind of is ruined when they show it to me a second time within minutes of already showing it to me. I'm like... did you not want to animate as much? Like
they had to do so much setting up.
Mm-hmm. This is set up the film.
Set up the movie setup.
And I don't know why I feel like I can give this a pass in regards to that, because most of the time when it's these Hollywood studios setting up franchises, like I didn't even see it, but I saw enough about it. The Mummy, setting up the dark world, the dark universe or whatever. When you haven't... I guess it feels like less of a waste when it's an animated film, and they use that to set up what's going to be the next few films, like the universe, the characters, which I agree, characters are just pretty much non-existent in the film. They are non-existent. And the one character that stands out, Ish, the main character, is extremely one note. He is just yeah, exactly. It's just by the second
matter what is happening.
Yep, and he is so determined. He only has
throw these old people out.
Well, he has that part's okay. At that point, I was still with him, but throughout the middle of the film to the end, I was like, "Okay, buddy, can you ever relax? Like, release, unclench your cheeks, man. You're just too anxious and too determined." Because okay.
Well, the English voice cast, because I watched the English one because I was
I watched the Japanese.
I was in a viewing area that wasn't very that didn't condone the subtitles from how far away I was from the screen.
Yeah,
but that guy overacts.
Oh, okay.
Like
I can't tell overacting in Japanese.
My confusion is with English dubs for everything, so it's not necessarily the guy's fault.
Yeah,
there seems to be the English voice acting never fits the Japanese animation, and I'm never sure if it's the quality of the English voice actors, or maybe just an industry just used to having just like way overacting happening, or over or underacting happening in front of this Japanese animation. Then they're not lining up.
I would attribute that just to each individual voice actor. So apparently that one was overacting. But Joe, there are so many concessions you have to make when dubbing things. You only have a certain amount of frames to like the person actually speaking to fit in whatever they're actually saying, and they have to translate it and get the meaning of it. They're not going to translate it exactly, obviously.
And I am, in general, against dubs. So I went against my own thing. Okay. That's the only thing I'm going to say about the dub track.
Joe, I really wish you would have watched it in Japanese. But, by the time, like, probably a year or two from now, we're going to get to this on a commentary. We'll do it in Japanese, because first viewing, I think you've stated it before, television is made for like daytime television. They write it so you can do your laundry while watching. I was literally doing my laundry while watching it the first time, and the sub, sorry. So I picked up a lot of it, not all of it, but I was confused by some things. So I gave it a week sitting on it, thinking about it, and I'm like, I was confused by certain things. I had to watch it a second time because I was so confused by certain things. Joe, did you even notice that after they land on the planet, he is in handcuffs for like a good portion of their time on the planet? At least like...
No.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
they don't show it off in the actual visuals, and I only barely noticed it the second time through, and I'm like, that makes a huge difference for me on his character because he is being forcibly restrained. Yeah. And it was a dumb decision by the government that's holding him down. The one thing I love about this movie, and which is going to keep me coming back for more and more viewings, and I hope it gives me so much more hope for the sequels, of which there will at least be 2 confirmed in this trilogy of blah 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 Godzilla Monster Planet.
Hopefully less exposition than the other 2 are needed.
Well, they set it up, so they really shouldn't set up more on top of what they've just set up. But it's the sci-fi world. I'm a big sci-fi fan, and I think this is a more than adequate, like a really good sci-fi future infrastructure for for Godzilla to be like, up against. Anyway, what they have is this super futuristic technology given to us by 2 alien races, I guess, which took a second viewing before I understood that at all.
Drew.
The Klingon Empire, Joe? Klingons.
Don't talk about Star Trek. I don't know Star Trek. I saw the J.J. Abrams movies.
They're the ones with the weird forehead, right?
The scary ones?
The scary ones.
From the bad,
in the next generation.
Yes,
with the weird forehead.
Right.
Okay.
Green.
They're brownish.
Okay.
But anyway, they just have
Whatever
strange
color
fear. They're the exact opposite of Spock, which I can't remember the name of. There are Star Trek fans that are like exploding right now.
No,
but Spock's race, enemy race. I just want to say, I can't remember the name of the race, but their mortal enemy is the Klingons. Anyway, the second alien race that I never noticed was in this film. They look kind of like Klingons. Did you notice of the council that is like in the ship, the guy with the weird eyebrows? His eyebrows have like pieces on top of his eyebrows. He has like hair pieces on top of his eyebrows.
I don't remember.
Anyway, that is a second alien race.
Just a weird looking dude.
Exactly.
Anime,
See, that's why I mistook it for just a weird looking human dude. But all the other humans aren't as stylized anime characters. They're not. They're pretty normal looking humans. I just thought, like, well, I guess the
I don't get it.
artistic choice is to make one of them different. It's because they were taken off of their planet, and there's some subtle allusion to the fact
the other aliens.
Yes, they're with the very obvious aliens,
there was
the ones
only
that are
one alien visit.
Yes, one alien visit from 2 different races.
That's what confuses me about that, is because there was just the one guy going like, we have your planet now.
Yeah, well, he's like, we'll work with you.
So
but
now all the things that this movie has to set up is why humans left,
why they're coming back, and how they're going to handle coming back
when they get there.
Basically, what they're going to do when they come back,
which is all the movie is about.
And
the first quarter is why are we here? Then we got why are we going back to Earth?
Oh, you mean the first half is why are they away from the planet?
It was just Exposition City.
Yes, it really is. I think what really saved it for me from feeling, because usually I can pick up on this is all exposition, but I was just looking at visuals. It's really pretty.
Yeah, the visuals for being anime, CG or whatever.
It's like
nice.
cell shaded.
It's like cell shaded, yeah.
Because it looks like hand drawn, but the characters are obviously models, like 3D
CGI.
models.
And made to look like anime.
Yeah, because when they're still, they have like what look like hand-drawn lines, and the shading's great. The lighting on so much stuff, whatever effect they're using for the lighting on ships in space, on characters, on the like environment when they're back on Earth, because it's kind of like a subtle. There's like a fog that's constantly on the Earth, and so it sort of plays off the characters and everything around them. Man, the light from scene to scene, it's like one scene is purple, next scene is blue, next scene is green. When they're in space, there's a lot of like reds and yellows and oranges. It's gorgeous. So that kind of kept me from seeing it as just exposition, because I was being tricked into.
I gotta say,
because I wasn't even reading the subtitles. I'm just like, this looks pretty.
As a Godzilla fan, though,
Yeah.
I'm into the handmade aspect of the suits.
Yes.
Because no matter how crappy the movie is,
Joe, I don't think that's ever going
I
to
can
happen
see
again.
the handmade quality of the suits.
Yeah.
And with the new Godzilla, the movie is good. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not like I'm like, well, the movie sucks and and the suit is CG, so nah.
It's the best looking CG Toho's produced so far.
That's true. So I'm
talking
just
about
kind
Shin
of
Godzilla, to be clear.
Yeah, Shin Godzilla, sorry. So even though it is visually cool, to me it's like, well, they could do it because they did it in a computer. And so to me, I'm not impressed by it. I'm just like, it looks cool.
I'm impressed because it looks hand-drawn, but you're right. It was done in computer, and only upon this third viewing was I because every viewing, they up the animation quality, it seems, when there's a action scene, which happens when all of a sudden Godzilla is coming and they
more 3D looking than...
Yes, well, the animation seems faster, it's smoother animation.
Oh, okay.
But prior to that, they're very obviously just human models that are being tweaked, their joints just slow. Everything aside from the facial animation is just a 3D character model that it feels like they're missing frames because they're only moving so quickly, and it looks kind of janky, but it's all right.
It's supposed to look like hand-drawn, I think. So it's
ish,
frames.
but it still feels like they're not as smooth.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, you were watching the English, listening to the English. If we want to get into spoilers,
yeah, let's get into spoilers.
Okay. We're discussing it, so we're doing it different from our commentary, because if we were doing a commentary, we'd be like, this is this behind the scenes thing, and this is what this company has done, and blah blah blah. I know a teeny bit, but oh my gosh, Joe. Oh my goodness. And again, it took the second viewing for me to realize that he was handcuffed, but when he jumps into what's essentially what do they call in the second Star Wars, the land speeders? The ones where they're on the oh no, that's the third one, the forest moon of Endor. I think they're called land speeders.
Yeah, land speeders.
But it's like an Uber land speeder because it can fly up into the air. They have the purple fire in the back. Okay. It's made so much more epic when he was handcuffed, and then the Exif, which is the obvious alien guys, the one Exif guy who's always creepily
it's funny
calm.
How much information they gave you, and yet how not enough information they gave you.
It's because visually you cannot tell he's handcuffed for probably 20-25 minutes of the film. I was like, that's the only time.
You know what? One of the things I was wondering is whatever happened to that guy being in trouble?
Joe, you needed at least a second viewing because he Joe, do I have to describe the whole film?
I think you might have to, Drew.
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
From the beginning, man committed treason against the ship because he was against their let's send these elderly down to a planet that they're pretty sure was uninhabitable, but they just wanted to be on land again because they'd been floating through space going mad for 12-20 years, something like that. Anyway, thrown in the brig. While he's in the brig, I don't know how long he was there. One of the Exif guys, this alien race, for some reason he takes an interest in him and is giving him secret classified information. So you're following that so far. And once it comes to the point,
can't remember why he got out of there.
Well, the council, and there's stirrings throughout the whole ship of there's not that many people left. They're we're running low on resources, blah, blah, blah. Those are the rumors. And then the council meets and they're like, yeah, we're actually running low on resources. We've been floating through space for a long time. And our chances of finding a habitable planet is 0.001 within the next 20 years. So they're so should we go back to Earth? And the thing that spurs them to going back to Earth, and I think this happens before they make the decision to go back, is these leaked research papers that Haruo's been making.
Oh, was making that.
Yeah, and it's because the Exif guy was giving him this this classified information. And see, this is where my believability of Haruo just completely breaks. The dude is too determined. He's so unrealistic. Okay, you can create.
Wants to go and prove that they can kill Godzilla or whatever.
He's just way too single-minded to be believable.
That does that, and then they.
And he does it, but that is the only thing the man cares about. It's are you even a human? Do you have any other interests? He would be a crazy person. No, I only care about God
and the old people.
So it's a problem in certain anime when they make characters like that because I just don't like them. I just wanted to tell him to just calm down. Like, calm down, buddy. I swear.
We're all stuck on this ship together.
I swear, we have to live with you, so be cool, man.
Hey, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
The scene I liked is when the ship was going away and Godzilla destroyed it.
You mean all the ships? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're in spoilers, so we can totally... And I was getting to spoilers, but then I had to retread some...
I'm sorry.
You're good.
That was pretty cool.
But then he explains to the council of the ship, hey, this is how we're going to kill Godzilla, because I researched into it and blah, blah, blah. I can only research so much because we only have so much archival footage. This is what I've gathered. But here's my plan. And they go, well, aren't you going to need like a military faction or certain military factions in order to pull off your plan? He's like, yep. And they go, no way. We only have so many people on the ship. And he goes, well, I'm going to need 600 of them. And they only have a couple thousand. The guy in the council goes, no, absolutely not. And they do this a few times in the show. The movie feels like an episode of a show, just a really long one.
It says episode 1 on the...
Yeah, this is like... And anyway, it was supposed to be an anime. They made it into a 3-part series. Hard cut to the military factions are gearing up to head towards Earth. So I like when they do that sometimes, and it happens 3 or 4 times in the movie. Somebody says something, and then the next scene immediately contradicts it, and it's sort of subtle humor. But anyway, he's like, no, absolutely not. You can't have the military. The hard cut, they're walking.
Ironic.
To like,
hard cut, yeah.
Yeah. And, okay, the thing that I was going back to, the coolest scene in the movie, I thought, was when he breaks out of those handcuffs that apparently he was in, the EXIF guy goes, follow your heart. And I was like, that's cheesy. Or like, follow what your soul's telling you to do. He like runs to the back of the ship, gets on one of those Uber land speeders, and like flies at Godzilla. That's when the animation goes up like just so much smoother, so much more detailed.
Watching the movie.
Yeah. See, that's when my heart was like, I'm all, whoa, this
wasn't in it
adrenaline started pumping.
I was just kind of like, well, this is cool. This is action.
Yeah.
Cool.
And his like yellingness suddenly matters because he's like, I'm gonna ram straight into it. And then the buddy, yeah, there's a lot of like characters that I was confused with in the movie. There's 2 blonde human characters that look like they could have been like chief generals in the Nazi army because they're super Aryan, but there's 2 of them and they look so similar. And there's 2 of this other alien race that's like the really beefy kind of brown skinned with the...
Which I didn't even know existed.
But there's 2 of them, and the only difference I could tell between them is one had crazier eyebrows than the other. It took a second viewing, and at the end I kind of was like, I think there was 2 of them, and I think they were aliens because of one throwaway line where the guy goes, they're a stubborn species, aren't they? And he's talking about the humans, and I was like, whoa, he's not a human? It's hard to tell because they're humanoid aliens. So just over my head... So overall, I mean, we're wrapping this up.
I like the battle at the end. But I think the best thing in the movie is the reveal.
Would you call that a second climax? But it's an okay second climax because it destroys the first one, where literally they destroy Godzilla.
They destroy Godzilla. And then
the reveal of Godzilla 2.0.
The reveal of the original, as far as we know, Godzilla.
Yes, as far as we know, because it could get even bigger, which is nuts.
Huge.
And you know what's crazy?
And it was just like hanging out in a mountain.
He didn't even. He was probably hibernating.
Yeah, waiting for humans to come back.
Throwback.
Feel him.
Throwback to Mothra versus Godzilla.
Yeah.
Came out of the earth. So. I don't think he even uses an atomic breath on those ships. He doesn't even have to. He just kind of like uses an electro pulse. It doesn't look like an atomic breath. He just sort of breathes and they all blow up. And then they describe what he just used, the attack. It's fantastic when that Godzilla wakes up.
Mega Godzilla was awesome.
And I didn't think that... did you say Mecha Godzilla?
Mega with a G, sorry.
The Uber Godzilla.
Uber Godzilla.
The real Godzilla of the film. Because... second viewing, when I'm watching it with honestly the full climax of the movie, the climax sequence, the climactic battle at the end against what we think is the Godzilla that was the original there, he looks so small. If you've seen the movie once and you watch it again, the Godzilla they're fighting, the one that they destroy, looks like nothing. And then, especially one reason I love the big Godzilla is because you get to see more detail on him. At that point, he's so large that even though he barely opens his eyes, you get to see his eyes, like the retinas. And just before he does his not really atomic breath to destroy all the escaping ships, there's a really like a snap cut or jump. I don't know. It just quickly cuts to his eyes and they sort of like contract. And then he does his attack. I was like,
oh, cool.
The subtlety to the, oh, it's amazing. Good visuals.
Yeah, good visuals.
Good Godzilla design, for sure.
This Godzilla, what was funny to me is that this Godzilla looks more like the American Godzilla right now than the than Shin Godzilla.
Yes.
By far.
He looks body structure-wise, extremely similar. The one thing I could see different, that was like notably different, is his neck protrudes out more, less up. And I think he's got a bigger face slightly because the American, we're talking the 2014 Godzilla, his neck is more like Shin Godzilla in that it goes up instead of kind of protruding out, which I don't want to make a comparison to this Godzilla to the Zilla. But the Zilla has a neck that goes forward, and really it's his body. Yeah. But this Godzilla is so
looks
freaking
like
large. Yes, more dinosaur-like. But his neck, including his head, kind of protrudes out from the front of his body. Most Godzillas are pretty just upright, especially
because the person's in a suit.
Exactly, and we just went through the Showa era, so they're all straight upright. Not to say that you can't have a person in a suit without a head just going forward, because
a long neck.
Well, we watched Zone Fighter, and that was the way they did a lot of them. Is the guys, and they didn't look good by any means, but the suit actor's head is in like somewhere around the torso to the upper chest, and then they would have like a neck with a face going off that, which would be above the actor's head. Probably a little more difficult for the actor to balance, but
yeah, I liked his design.
Oh yeah,
I think it looks really similar to the American one, dude.
Body structure wise, for sure, except for the neck.
Its head is square. So
yes,
in the Shin Godzilla, his head is like round. In the Millennium Godzillas, his head is like pointy.
Yes.
The square Godzilla face is the American Godzilla.
He looks extremely similar to 2014 Godzilla, looking straight on, because you can't tell that the neck comes out. Only in profile.
Its neck position.
When you look at him sideways, that's when there's a big distinction. If you look at him straight on, even facial structure wise, it's really American Godzilla-y.
It's really interesting that they didn't go with the Shin Godzilla design.
I think in the last Godzilla, well, I mean, this was a totally different production company.
Also, this is now the biggest Godzilla, right?
Oh, by far.
Yeah.
I swear you just told us it was around 112 meters tall.
I think
was
Shin? 300, right?
No. Shin Godzilla, 112. Right. This one's over 300 because they have a line and there's a lot of little Easter eggs in the movie.
Something feet.
They say 300 meters and growing is the height of the Godzilla that ends up being the real Godzilla in this movie. It's sad to me that Haruo felt so... Okay, anime characters 101. You can make a character feel not believable but still interesting, but you have to make them way over the top. Like a non-realistic human. They have to be super over the top. And then when they have a motivation like him, which is he's so single-minded, wants to destroy Godzilla, he's obsessed with it, it's kind of like it's his thing.
I'm the hero.
Yeah, if he sounded like that, honestly, but he's too humble, blah, blah, blah. He's just too human and too one-note. So there's something Uncanny Valley-ish in his like personality, because he's not believable enough as a not human, because he's definitely just like a regular human, but his motivation is super unbelievable. I never see anything on screen. I
just don't think he's a good character, dude.
I never see anything on screen from him that's not, I just need to kill Godzilla. Hey, let's kill Godzilla. I have to kill Godzilla. He's like holding a guy up against the throat on the wall. You mean you don't want to kill Godzilla? Like, gosh, man. Have a second motivation for anything.
There's a thing I learned in film school. Like a shortcut for character motivation. This is the outline. You put it on a piece of paper. I want to blank him, her, it, so they will blank, and I will feel blank.
Okay, that's a lot of blanks.
It's a lot of blanks, but it tells you, I will do this specific thing so that this thing does this, and then I will feel this in some sort of accomplished way. He doesn't really have that. He just goes, I want to do this.
Exactly. And he doesn't have anybody to play off of, because what would have helped, here's another way it could have been kind of fixed, in my opinion, is somebody pointing out to him or other characters in the movie, but really he's pointing it out to us, the audience, that, hey, you're kind of uptight, buddy. But, like, there's nobody left in the human race in the story of this film to, like, say that, because they're all very serious. They're all very, I don't know, they've all lost hope.
There's no character you want to get into in this thing.
It's because all the humans that are left are super devoid of personality. It's what's happened to them being in this space station for so long. I'm hoping.
Not just bad writing.
Well, it's the corner they wrote themselves into when they said, "Hey, the human race has been on a very very gray, cold ship floating out in space for over 10 years. This is the way they all are now. Is kind of personality-less."
Which is not fun for an audience.
It needed, there's a couple ways, in my opinion.
But you do like this movie.
I love the world that it set up.
You love the world. Okay, I like the world too. I like the idea of people leaving the planet, coming back, and Godzilla has ruled. And the planet has moved on in some way.
Yeah, I
like that too.
I think I already said it, but future technologies, both human technology and the aliens that was given to them, they've been flown off in space. They have the technology to sustain themselves for however long, float through space looking for an inhabitable planet. So super technology versus they come back to the Earth, which has apparently they've left for 20,000 years, because that's what happens with the, I think it's relativity theory. You float through space, and time passes a lot faster when you've been traveling through light speed. But anyway, it's been 20 years for them. It's been 20,000 for the Earth. But future technology, then they go back to the Earth, and it's all just like year zero, like caveman. The Earth has reset itself. Yep. And so they have the technology to combat that, but it's complete polar opposites, and it's so beautiful. I like that the Earth has become so hostile. Like, everything can kill them on the Earth. And I don't know. I just hope, and I really think they can. I have so much hope that they can grow Haruo as a character in the next movie.
Or they get rid of him and give it someone else.
Or just have a character point out that, hey, buddy, you're a little uptight. Because I just really felt that they needed to release the tension through that. Because I was feeling that the whole movie, and if somebody would have at least acknowledged it on screen, it just feels better. Maybe. Suddenly, I'm okay with a character that is so single-minded that it's really, really annoying.
All right. Well, I hope it gets better as we go along, certainly.
I have a lot of... the only thing we know about the sequel is in the teaser posters, that Mechagodzilla is going to be coming back.
Are the humans going to make Mechagodzilla, or the aliens, or
the Mechagodzilla was there, Joe. They couldn't activate it in time before they had to evacuate the Earth. So they showed Mechagodzilla for a scene, and then they had to abandon him.
I would have remembered that.
It was like right at the beginning of the movie.
I remember Dagara.
It was done in flashbacks. Yeah, that's the only time Dagara's ever been tied into the Godzilla universe. Crazy, huh?
Yeah.
It took them like...
So now they're
40, 50 years.
Now we would have had to watch the movie.
Well,
if we were going with their old order.
That's like the only. I was trying to think about the connections of these movies. We're done. There's Godzilla, Planet of the Monsters. It's okay. I think it's okay. Joe didn't really like it.
I don't think it's very good, but there's some good eye candy for a Godzilla lover.
I think that's all it's got for a Godzilla lover. For a fan of sci-fi, it built a really cool world for me. So there's not much exploration of the world done in this, but I want a lot more exploration done.
Yeah.
I've been able to rewatch it because I catch so much more like subtle, oh, this is part of the world, oh, this is part of the characters every time I watch it. So it feels fulfilling to watch it again and again.
Okay.
Yeah, Dagara would never...
Dagara is a worse movie. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. Dagara is a worse movie. I think Latitude Zero is a worse movie.
Maguma almost made it into Destroy All Monsters. Dagara wasn't set to be in anything Godzilla. All of a sudden, it's thrown into this one because they're like, hey, we made this obscure, really bad movie in the 60s. Let's throw it in a Godzilla movie as an Easter egg.
It seems like Godzilla and Godzilla Spawn are the only thing that are there. right now.
Well,
on
they
the
were
planet.
before they evacuated the Earth.
Like
There was
the
a lot of monsters that
Godzilla
were
dragon
invading the
things.
planet. Yeah, Zilla did it first.
There you
The Godzilla spawn in like Yankee State. What was the baseball stadium? Whatever stadium they're in Godzilla 1998.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only thing I could think of is when I saw the Godzilla spawn that are like those dragons in this movie. I'm like, unfortunately, the only movie I know.
Madison Square Garden, by
Yes.
the way, is where that is. That took me a minute and a half to remember.
I'm really glad I wouldn't have remembered. I don't know, but that's the only Godzilla movie I can think of where he has like spawn that kind of play a part in the movie.
Well, and the new one's totally going to have that.
Oh, they
Spoilers
have
to the very end of Shin Godzilla, by the way.
You're already in the spoiler section of this, and honestly, everybody has Netflix. Come on, go sign up for a 30-day free trial or whatever the heck they have. But just watch this. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, go steal your parents' Netflix account.
Go steal your friends, your neighbors. If you don't have a Netflix account, you have a Netflix
You're a
account because you have
dinosaur.
access to someone
No,
else's.
I'm kidding.
But yeah, it's
All
easy
right.
to get a hold of. It's all right.
Yeah.
I have because of this movie, I have a lot of hope for the 2 sequels. Should have been an anime. Shouldn't have been 3 movies, my opinion. But we'll get more into that one once we get into our commentary in quite a while.
In quite a while.
And here we are.
Space
going to watch
Amoeba.
Space Amoeba. See you next week. Keep it G.